let's talk about a new school way to start to handle light. So, you know, you think of yourself as a cinematographer, wow, I got 35, 37 years of experience, and that experience enables me to know I don't need to use photometrics. I have done it enough. How many bedrooms I've lit, how many massive night exteriors I've lit. I know exactly what lights are going to be needed for those spaces. But maybe a lot of you have not done that. So how do you get into my mind? Well, you do that by a brand new app that just hit the market. And it basically takes my 35 years of experience and vaporizes it and gives you the keys to the castle. And this thing is called LightCalc. And I have a QR code at the end of this that you want to take a snapshot of, because this thing will blow your mind how good it is. So let's dive into the app. All right, so I am going to escape out of my presentation. I am going to go to my LightCalc here. I got to change my settings. I go into this, go here, this window, bang. Okay, here we are. So we have a Nanlux Evoke 900C. All right, and we have a Fresnel that's at 45 degrees. Now, why is this app so powerful? Well, because what it does is it creates ambient light levels. So this developer from Austria has loaded in a ton of ambient light levels. He's got, look at this thing, he's got drizzle overcast, drizzle day, dark overcast day, cloudy day, classroom, bright overcast, sunny day, art gallery. Let's go to an office, an office, general office. He's saying, it's like there was one in there that was operating room. Can you imagine it? He goes, hey, I know I'm here for the surgery, but can I take an ambient reading in here? It's like, what? But he's done this. And that's what's really cool about this. Because a lot of times you're going to walk into an office space and you're going to say, what light do I need to bring up the level, right? To make somebody pop out in the background or kind of dissolve into the background. So I'm going to take a ambient light meter reading right now, okay? And that is 5, 6.5. I'm going to throw it over. It's 66-foot candles. So I am going to now, I can customize it. So you don't have to go off of his presets because now you're on location. At least in a vacuum, you can do it in your prep. But then obviously you're going to go on location scouts. That's why I always bring a light meter, and you're going to be walking into environments that got big ass windows that you might not be able to, you don't have the budget to control that light. So you're going to be dialing in what the ambient level is coming in there, and then you're going to need to know how you're going to have to overpower it. So I'm going to set this at 66. Okay, and that's set there. So now I'm going to go to my subject. I kind of have medium skin tone. He's got all these different skin tones. Very light skin tone, light medium, medium skin, olive skin, middle gray, dark skin, very dark skin. So I'm going to go, I'll go medium skin tone. Now you can go into your camera settings. Kind of like what I was talking about, how Mick G called that audible with 120 frames per second. Well, you can dial that in right now, too, and you would know what light you need to use, too, right? So it can factor all that into the equation. But we'll stay at 24 frames. We have a 180-degree shutter, 800 ISO. Now we're going to go to the key light. So right now, I need to be able to overpower the 66-foot candles. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my distance down. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go to 12 feet. Okay, and for me to say I want to pop out of this environment, so I'm going to have to overpower those lights and what's in the ceiling right now. So that was 66-foot candles. So I'm going to need to overpower that. And I want to have 2.5 stops. So let's say that I'm going to bring this light up. Hey, Art, could you kill these for a second? Kill those just so I can take another reading, because that's coming from the same direction. And then I'll take another ambient reading and change that, just so we're on point here. Okay, great. Okay, so the ambient of this stage is 22. So let me go back to ambient, and I'll change that to 22. Okay, great. And then I'll go back to my key light. All right, so to overpower that ambience, I want 2.5 stops. That'll give me 2.5 stops down on this side, and the light will hit. So what it's saying at 12 feet, and I'm looking in this area, subject to ambience. Right now, I'm 5 stops over if I was at 100%. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dim this down and get to 2.5 stops. Perfect. Okay, so Jeremy, set this to 15.7% at 5600 Kelvin, and we already have this at a 45 degree. And now you're going to aim it at me a little bit, pan left a little. There you go. Okay. And now I'm going to turn it back to that. So that's giving me an 8. In my ambience was a 8.5. So now I have the perfect 2.5 stops down on this side of my face, and I have that key light, and that calculated it perfectly. So now let's take it to the extreme, because I'm not only, you can go ahead and kill that light, I'm not only doing one light. You just saw me put 38 vortexes on a 165-foot magni. So let's do that, right? So now we'll go up to the cream source vortex 8, right? Right here, set that. And you can put up to 100 fixtures. Okay, so now I use 38. So I'm going to go to 38. Okay, and I'll just put the dim down to like 10% just to start there. Okay, now, this, and a lot of people don't understand the power of Google Earth. Google Earth is your scouting tool. I have done so many movies where I've never had to even visit a location to know exactly how I'm going to light it. And it's all from the power of this app. And a lot of people don't understand how powerful this app can be, because you can measure stuff. You can drop the little guy down on the street and you can kind of peruse the whole neighborhood. You can really, and this is what I did right here. Here's the perfect couple house right on the Cape. This is where all my actors had to be. And this is where we could put that magni lift, right, with the 38 vortexes. Okay, so now what I do is I go over here, I hit measure, I click here, and I click where all our talent's going to be, and that's going to be 100 meters, so 300 feet. So I've done that. And when you're doing night exteriors and stuff, especially when you're dealing with water, you're always looking for a bay, because you can have the shimmer in the water in the background, which you could never do if there's nothing out there, right? It's like, how do you create a shimmer? You have to fly a balloon out there, put it in a boat. I've done that before. But this makes it a little easier because you use the land to be able to give you that beautiful moonlight sheen on the water. We're going to go back to our LightCalc, and we're now going to say that we're 300 feet away. Okay? And I like to be able to have my backlight at basically a stop and a half down on my backlight. Or if I'm using it as a side light, which I had to do on Perfect Couple, I would go to maybe a stop down on my key. So at 300 feet, I'm able to move this thing around. And what's going on here? There's something that is... Okay. Oh, I got to change my ambient. We're not in an office anymore. We're in a beautiful moonlit night. So now I'm going to go and found that full moon night sky. Wonderful. And now I'm going to go back to my key light. And at 300 feet at 5%, I'm 2 1/3 stops down. That's not where I want to be. I want to be at 1.5 stops down on my backlight. So now I'm going to slide the dimmer to give me 1.5 stops. And it's around literally 10%. So I was taking that whole vortex cluster and dimming it down to 10% to be able to give me a semi-soft kind of moonlight that I could work as a side light and also as a backlight. And with this app, I was able to calculate that all on Google Earth without ever visiting the location at all. This starts to open up a whole new way to prep your film. Okay, I'm going to jump back out of this and change and go to here and extend the display. And here's the QR code. And think about this. All in $45 one-time payment. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's like this is the power of knowing every light to use on set without ever visiting a location, basically right here with this LightCalc app.